What's up, everybody? What's up, nerds? We're talking about nerds in the chat. I was saying everybody's a nerd nowadays. Back when I was a kid, it wasn't so nice to be called a nerd. But as you know, the nerds got their revenge. Although that movie, Revenge of the Nerds, did not age well. Anyway, what's up, everybody? It's Electro Saturday today. Who's in the chat first? Sean Hodson, the countdown begins. Yes, we just counted down and here we go. Luminous Cloud, yo. You're asking, what kind of electro will be brewed up today? Well, we shall see. Jean-Paul Bondy is here. Acid Bats, orale. What's up, everybody? Who's next? You guys have been talking about NYC and Detroit and used to be the Movement Festival used to be called DEMF, Detroit Electronic Music Festival. Luminous Clouds talking about being in New York City, seeing Jimmy Crash play techie breaks. Yeah, there were a lot of breaks in the rave scene in New York. Breaks and electro. Who else is here? Silver Knobs is back. What's up? We got, I think I said Acid Bat already. Nothing like Electro Saturdays to set the mood for the day. I agree. Dude Drexian is here. Ghost Eps. Hey, hey. Nick's finger poking from the Netherlands. What a name. I love it. Capers Jr. 716. The Rumax. Digging Arpanet. The Arpanet's amazing, right? Zero Dub. Reefer Bass. And Wojciech from Poland. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. It's Saturday. It's usually Techno Saturday. No, it's sometimes Techno Saturday, and today it's Electro Saturday. It's a nice, crisp, cold day here in New York. Not too freezing, but, you know, I'm glad to be inside and in the studio under these warm studio lights and making some beats. I'm here in the studio, 343 Labs Music Production School in New York City. You know, we do all sorts of courses and content here, and we have a location in Berlin, and we do online, and I do synthesis and sound design and music production classes, and I teach private lessons too, and then, you know, Abe does. Man, I miss Abe streaming on Fridays. That was a nice back-to-back. Abe on Friday, me on Saturday. I asked him recently if he would cover me on some Saturdays where I can't do it. So hopefully he will be able to make the time with his weekend family schedule to join you and do an Abe Duque special Techno Saturday. That would be great. Yeah, so if you want to know, as I say every time, doing my due diligence here, you want to know more about what we're doing, all the links are in the description below. Website for the New York location, website for the Berlin location. You can find out about all our online courses that we're running. And you can join our Discord. And I know the Discord link sometimes doesn't work. You know, we put the invite link in there and then we have to update it. And you know what happens? We like copy and paste the description when we do the show. And if we forget to update the link, then, oh, all right. So Thomas, if you're watching, Thomas from 343, let's remember, right? Let's remember to make sure our Discord link is updated. And the reason for that is, well, one, you're part of the community here in the chat, but also you can join our Discord. We've got a Selway feedback channel where you can post music, and we do periodically have feedback sessions. And, you know, we're doing Electro today. And as I mentioned last time, I'm just setting up my graphic here so we can all see what I'm talking about. But as mentioned, we have a very special guest coming up March 25th. We have none other than Carl Finlow as a guest returning. He's been on the show before. I love having him as a guest. He's so much fun to hang out and nerd with. I don't think he would mind us referring to him as a nerd. He's like a uber super nerd. He's like a genius nerd when it comes to electro music production. And he's great to have on the show. And he and I are going to listen to your submissions and give you some feedback. And we still got to figure out like how many we can do, how long he can stay. Usually when I do the feedback sessions, I like to do longer than an hour so we can fit enough tracks in. So remains to be seen. You still have time to submit. You know, we'll want to have you submit your tracks in the Selway feedback channel on the 343 Labs Discord, you know, like at least a couple of days before the show. So, you know, I would say like the drop dead deadline to have a track in would be March 24th. Maybe even wait until like that week to upload. I mentioned this last time, like put all your, so we have most everything together and I don't have to like go searching for everything. So yeah, let's make it that, you know, you're going to submit your track in the Selway feedback channel on 343 Labs Discord the week before March 25th with the due date of March 24th. All right. And then Carl and I will go through and figure out which tracks we're going to give feedback for, and we'll fit in as many as we can. All right. So I'm really excited about that. That is coming up. And hopefully you all are really psyched about that too. I expect we're going to get a pretty good number of submissions for this. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, what are you guys thinking? What's going on in the chat there? Ooh, Nick's finger poking. That's a joke, right? Finger poking. He says Turbo. Yeah, that's one of my tracks from the late 90s. Turbo, kind of like electro-y techno track with, yeah. Should pull that out, some of that stuff. It's been a little while. And let's see. Who else is in here? Josh Holiday. Hi. Did I say hello to you before? I don't remember. And yeah, sorry, Jean-Paul, just checked the Discord link. It is not working. Let's get that updated. Again, Thomas, if you're watching, maybe you can even do it right now. I don't know if I don't think actually you can edit I don't know if you should try to edit while we're streaming, but at least we could put like a current link in the chat here. Very nice. So earlier y'all were asking what kind of electro are we going to do today? And actually, I'm continuing with what I was doing some weeks ago. I had the this plugin that we were looking into, this carbonizator, and the last couple of streams it was pointed out that there was an audio issue. I figured it out. I have a digital mixer and the signal is being duplicated. The mixer is controlled through a web interface, and even though the fader was showing that it wasn't sending to the other input, it was two sources sending to one input going into the stream, and even the fader didn't refresh, so it was on, but it looked like it was off, and I had to like move the fader around and like, oh, because that's why while we were streaming, I looked at the signal, the levels and everything, and it looked like it was supposed to, and I'm like, why is it doing this? And then refreshed the browser and like moved the fader up and down, and it fixed it. So we're good. And anyway, because of that audio issue, I felt like, you're featuring a plugin. You want to hear the plugin the way it's supposed to sound, and not with like doubled comb filtering, weird metallic textures being added because my mixer interface got weird. So I figured we can look at it again and keep working on this track. And also, the second thing I'm doing today is, yesterday was 303 day, right? March 3rd. And okay, today is not, it's the day after 303 day. So I figured why not play around with some acid stuff, because I already was thinking this groove that I had going was going to sound good with some kind of 303 acid sort of driving part to add to it. So, no, is that speaking with cursive, or I'm what's that thing people do now? It's either like a really bad Australian accent or speaking with cursive. Enough of that. Let's have a listen to where we're at. Actually, the 303 is in there. I'm actually going to cut that out. Let's listen to where we were before. The way we were. All right, so that's the basic groove. Fast, driving, dance floor, electro. I was thinking to do breaky, but I got rid of the break beat. I was like, no, I want to keep this pure and less acoustic sounding and more synthetic sounding. So I ditched the break beat. And we started off with just taking this DS kick drum, whoa, and destroying it with the carbonizator. This again, this is like a tube distortion emulation combined with filtering, amplitude modulation, and filter FM, audio rate filter modulation. So we got three different tubes. The red one and the green one are like the fat ones, and then the purple one's like the bright, resonant, dirtier one somehow. All right, well, they're all dirty, especially when you totally, like, this thing's maxed out. The level's all the way up, the intensity's all the way up. If you want to get even more intensity, you add extra resonance. All right, and this is one of the things I noticed last time about the interface is some of the knobs don't move up and down all the way. Not sure why that is, but it still works, it still sounds good. And then the other thing that's going on with this is we got the amplitude modulation amount. Let me get rid of that. That's just straight saturation distortion coming from the tubes. And now I'm adding in amplitude modulation. It's adding overtones, harmonics, and it's also adding some stereo kind of stuff going on, which I need to be careful because I don't want my kick drum to go out of phase. And I'm kind of using this as like a kick slash bass, right? Because I have another kick, like an actual kick, like doing the more energetic thing. I can play around with the decay on the kick drum, on the synth, the more distorted bass note kind of kick. And I think it sounds pretty cool. Hey Doug, nice to have you back. Doug says, I love the carbonizator, even if I can't pronounce it. Carbonizator. I think we got it. So yeah, that's where we're at. And, I added it to that crazy big kick drum. I have this more just clean, punchy kick drum. I added some dirtiness to that clap. I added it to everything. I added some brightness to the slightly more acoustic sounding snare drum that I'm using. Didn't use it, that's just a sample straight out of the sampler. Then we got the 808 kind of layer. And then we have this guy. A simple square wave, short sound, real tight. We use the mono sequencer to create that kind of droning rhythmic synth part. And that is also going into the carbonizator. Carbone. I think it's carbonizator. Because the guy who makes it is Carbone. If I'm saying it right. Sorry, Italians. Okay. So that's where we're at. I agree, the roommates. Ableton's kick synth is a beast. And then it's just like easy. It's just there. It's perfect for this kind of music, and you can totally go crazy with it with effects and processing to make it do whatever you want pretty much. So that's where we're at. Josh Holiday asks for a link. We made a clip from a few weeks ago. We made a clip, like a 10-minute version of me fooling around with this plugin. And the Bandcamp, it's on a Bandcamp page. Like a record label is associated with with this, and they have a Bandcamp page, and you can buy and download it from Bandcamp. So go to the 343 Labs channel. Look at our recent videos. You'll see one with me in front of this big green smiley face, and it will have the link there for you to purchase it. And yes, Doug, I think we do need a ruling on that pronunciation. Anyone who's Italian, why don't you weigh in on how you would say it, because it's probably right. Now, what do we do with this? So, I'm kind of thinking about, all right, I'm turning up the speakers in the studio. Let me know if it's too loud, if you hear any doubling. I just want to feel it. All right, and I'm going to cut out this synth, the analog pattern going on right there. So, this is kind of the basic groove. I feel like in the arrangements, I'm going to bring that in at some point. But for now, let's keep it out. And let's get some 303 stuff going on. So I like to use, as you have seen before, ABL3 for my 303 emulation. It sounds really good. And what I like about it the most is their randomizer, their pattern generator, is really good. It comes up with really great patterns really quickly. So definitely about that. And this I created using the randomizer earlier. It only took a couple of clicks to get there. I had to well, the first thing I figured out was what key am I in? Like what note is that bass kick playing? And it's an F, so I set my root to F, and that makes it so over here where it says C, that's actually an F now, what we're hearing. And then I turned off a major third because I didn't want to hear that in the pattern. And I turned off -2 octave scaling so it doesn't go too low. Actually, if I turn that on, you're going to hear it goes lower on a couple of the notes, which wasn't so bad actually. And then the rest of it was just playing around with these sliders and then hitting apply. Cool. And I think it sounds good. I mean, I could use it clean just like this. Oh. Hey, Anthony. Anthony's in the house. What's up? Just grooving to some acid. All right, so I like the way this sounds. I mean, I'll probably do a version that's more clean and hypnotic, just like this. And I like having the short decay and having it kind of be clean like this, and then right there is one of my favorite things to do. But like this kind of bandpass filtered synced delay to add this extra rhythmic dimension. So I'm happy with this. But the other thing I wanted to do is just, let's try out this carbonizator on the 303 and see how that works, right? So, you know, it was 303 day yesterday. I brought back this carbonate. Oh my God, Doug, see what you did? You psyched me out. Carbonizator, because the last time I used it, the audio was messed up. So we're giving them another fair shake so y'all can really hear what it sounds like without that problem that I was having. So let's hear what this sounds like with some crazy distortion on it. You know, pretty good. This thing sounds really good when you just push the level all the way up. And the minimum maximum, it doesn't sound like that's dry wet. It sounds like it's more just gain going into the valves, right? Ooh. I'm curious to hear what this sounds like when I like how when you're doing harder edged acid stuff, when you bring the resonance up and it kind of gets chopped up and clipped by the distortion. Let's see how the carbonizator handles that. So far, so good. Yeah, it's cool. It's not like totally breaking up too much. I'd probably have to increase the gain going in even more to get it to totally destroy it. A little loud though. Let's bring that down. Look, it's totally just squashing it flat. What? I like how it sounds. It handles 303s really nicely. Let's see how it works with that delay again. The level's staying really even. I like that. Got rid of the accents. So putting in a lot of accents. Okay, so far so good. I like how this sounds on the 303. I approve. Let's really, really mess it up. You know what I almost said. Oh, we also have to try the other tubes. Whoa. All right, before I go crazy with the AM. What? That sounds crazy. It sounds like a broken tube. It's really, what happens if I put resonance into this thing? I don't know if I've heard a 303 sound exactly like that. That is nuts. That is definitely, it almost sounds like an overdriven electric piano. I don't know what it is. There's like this little glassy kind of metallic sound happening in there right now. That's crazy. It's really low passing everything. We're not hearing any, it's not as warm anymore, right? All right, let's go crazy with some AM. Total destruction. I mean, the trick to doing doing audio rate AM is basically like ring modulation, is adding these high overtones that weren't there before, right? There's also some crazy stereo phase stuff going on. This is something I was hearing last time when I was playing with it. I want to hear how that might get messed up in mono. So let's put a utility on there real quick. Okay, it didn't disappear. That's good, but that's something we want to be aware of when we're doing opposite phase on the left and right. We're doing the stereo modulation. Okay, that's more subtle, right? You can also filter. Okay, let's pause there for a minute. It's getting real tweaky in here. Let's talk. Glad to have Anthony Rother back. Welcome. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's always great when you stop by. And Luminous Cloud said it sounds like a puppy, like it's whoop whoop, right? Acid Bat says, I love overdriving the filter on the TD3 with an audio rate LFO, trippy ass unexpected results. I agree. Skirmanta says, like crack higher states of consciousness by Wink with that crazy like distorted 303. That's also like the 303 and higher states of consciousness is so resonant and so bright. It's hard to listen to. I mean, it's like the resonance is all the way up. But I can't do it. It's too much with this. Yeah, like that, right? It's like those that's what happens when you have really high resonance going into really heavy distortion. You get that clipped thing going on. It's really crazy. It's getting kind of ugly in here. All right. It doesn't always work. You know, it doesn't always work. That's interesting. A little out of control. Yeah, I feel like the AM sounds better when it's more filtered, when it's not as bright and sharp. Trying to keep this electro, right? I don't want to get too intense and hardcore with it, but it's a hard balance to maintain when you're using this intense distortion effect like this. You can also modulate the LFO. I thought we were going to talk, and look at me, I got all caught up again. Yeah, I like that. All right. I said I was going to stop and we were going to talk, so let's actually take a break. We are almost halfway through. Actually, no, I started a few minutes late, so we're not quite halfway through Electro Saturdays today on 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs. There's some questions. There's some questions in here. Brandon Braun says, how do you use saturation on kicks and sub bass? Do you generally not affect the low end below 80 hertz? I think it depends. I mean, let's look at what's going on with the distortion on this kick here. In this case, I mean, this isn't just like mixing saturation to fatten it up a little bit. This is using distortion for sound design purposes to transform the sound into something different. And in this case, I absolutely want to saturate or distort all of the low end, because the saturation's adding harmonics to the low end, and that's what's making it sound like that. And I'm going to bring in a saturator from live just as a different type of distortion, right? So I can saturate and add harmonics to this kick. And that's kind of doing a similar thing, right? Where it's adding mid-range, it's adding harmonics to the low end. But let's say I didn't want it to do that. If I just wanted to only brighten it up rather than add like this tone to the sub, right? So this saturator lets me shift which frequencies, above or below, which frequencies are getting more or less saturation. So in this case, I'm saturating the sub less and adding adding saturation only to the higher frequencies above this cutoff here. Anyway, you can kind of tilt which way it's going, right? It's not really like a cutoff, actually. It's a little different. And you can see now I'm getting more distortion on the low end because I've increased that bass amount there. So yeah, you just have that to control if you want. Now that's two kinds. There's the saturator, and then there's clipping on the output, which is adding more overtones at the output. I actually like that. It's clicky, more clicky like that. Definitely needs compression and maybe a limiter on it, though. But that's not why in this case, we're using the carbonizator to destroy that kick drum. I could actually add this saturation after to do more. Why not? It's probably a little excessive. It's not changing it that much, is it? All right, we'll leave that for another time. All right, so that was a good question. What else you guys talking about? Zero Dub says parallel saturation works. Yeah, and that's another thing that I was playing around with this plugin last time, is putting something like really destructive like this carbonizator, and it doesn't have a real wet dry in it, but if I wanted a wet dry, I could make one. So there's just that. Actually, that would be good to put the saturator on to make it more punchy. All right, that's too loud, sorry. And then we can mix that together with that. And that's parallel, right? Two different kinds of saturation at the same time. And now I have the punch and the together. It needs a little EQing probably, and a little more, maybe a compressor after it to get it real tight. But yeah, that's another good approach. Thanks, Zero Dub. The Rumank says, with a 4 on the floor kick, it might be similar to Public Energy 303. Anyone who has never listened to Public Energy 303, search for that. Go check it out. That's a classic acid techno track. So good. Public Energy with Speedy J. It's one of my favorites. Good call out there. And okay. Let's continue. Let's dive back into working on this track a little bit and seeing where we can go from here. All right. Now, this is fun. I've been exploring what this effect sounds like on the 303, but I'm not 100% sure I love where it is right now. So let's see if we can. I'm going to stop talking for a minute. And I'm just going to tweak and see if I can't get this into a place that I like a little bit better. Like the idea of it being thinner like this. Let's hear how that sounds when I tweak. It almost sounds like an FM synthesizer right now. Interesting. You hear what's happening when this is a high pass filter now. Kind of lose in the low notes. Little bit loud, little bit bright. Let's turn that down. It's more bouncy like this. Let's hear how it breaks up when I like it, but I also miss the low notes a little bit. I'm going to play around with the AM again. Let's see if I can... I had it sounding real cool before the live stream started, and I wasn't able to get it back. I messed it up. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to lose the delay, actually. Really, I think it all has to do with the frequency of the modulation, like getting the AM speed just right so it creates tones that are kind of in harmony with the sound. Maybe just a little bit of it. Yeah, still not getting it. I don't remember exactly how I had it. It was somewhere around here, but... maybe a little better. Okay. I don't want to dwell on this too much. I want to add some new parts as well. I kind of want to keep developing this track. So let's see. I guess it sounds better full like that. Got that other part I was playing with. And one thing I was thinking about is having this part not be as continuous. Like this would be more of the continuous acid groove, and then occasionally bring in the like that. Right, so to make this easier on myself, let's capture, I'm going to record the MIDI output of the mono sequencer. I do this all the time. It makes it much easier to arrange and work with the mono sequencer. I use the mono sequencer to generate the pattern and then capture it to a MIDI clip and then arrange with that. So let's get the MIDI in there. Let's route MIDI from the track with the mono sequencer on it. Let's arm that track and record. That should be good. Okay, now if I just go in here and turn that sequencer off, and I can play back. Whoa, that sounded crazy. I'm just going to go ahead and mute every other bar so that it alternates. That sounds cool too, whatever was just happening there. Yeah, like that. So it's less often. It could even be less often. Okay. All right, I'm missing the growl of the more distorted kick drum over there. Like this is cool, but I mean, this is just a levels thing, right? Come on, give me back my level. Yeah, I want this to be a little dirtier. There's a little bit of amplitude modulation going on there too. Creating a little bit of movement. I want this to sound even bigger. What can I do? I mean, I could put some stereo effect on the high frequencies. We could try that. That shouldn't be too crazy. I'm just going to use a return for that. Make it easy. Use a chorus. Yeah, let's use a chorus on a return all the way wet. But I'm actually going to filter out the frequencies going into it, so it's just highs. And let's see what we can do. Just that little spinning on the top. Kind of like it. Trippy, right? All right, see how that works with the 303. Maybe a little, they're battling now, aren't they? Yeah, they are battling. See, that's kind of, I want it to be big, but then it's big and then they fight. They're having problems. Maybe shorter. A little less of that chorusing. Yeah, that's better. Better when it's tighter, right? That's how I started. That was my instinct from the beginning, to have it short and spiky like that, not too tweaky. And we have this guy. All right, I feel like I'm at the point where I need to come up with a new element. I like what I have here. But I want to be careful. Sometimes when I'm working on tracks, I want to get more musical. I'll start thinking about chords and melodies, and I want to keep this dance floor focused, right? So I don't want to get too spaced out. So a lot of times if I want to do a chord, I'll do like a single stab instead of a chord progression, just to add a little splash of harmony every now and then. Could do more synth stuff, more fast synth stuff that's repetitive and rhythmic like that. Could do variations on the 303. That's another thing you got to remember, is that, you know, you can have the same pattern repeating the whole time and get that hypnotic groove, but you can also have the same synth do different variations. So let's see how we could do that with the ABL3. Now, if I remember correctly how this works, you you can play the different patterns from MIDI notes. So hopefully I don't mess this up. But if I put in, yeah, you can see each MIDI note corresponds to a pattern. And that lets you use MIDI notes to play back different patterns like you would on a real 303, just switching patterns. All right, so I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to make another clip playing pattern 2, and then paste that and change it. Let's try just starting out like just without doing another seed, which creates a new pattern entirely. Let's just modify it using the sliders. Right, so it's kind of like in a similar pattern, but slightly different because I reduced the number of notes. If I want fewer notes with longer note lengths, I would reduce the gate. All right, so let's see how that variation works with the beat. It's okay. Let's see how it sounds switching to the original one. Too different, maybe. Yeah, I don't like that. That's better. It's keeping the energy up. And it's more similar to the original. Right. I'm going to lose the big distorted kick drum for a second. That's cool. All right, so I'm going to keep that. Let's copy that and go to another one. All right, so again, I'm trying to, I want to create variation without adding too many layers, so this is the way I'm going to do it. All right, creating a bunch of different patterns, and we can figure out which ones we want to use in the arrangement. That's kind of cool, just one note like that, but let's keep it in the same world. You know, actually, I wanted to copy the second one, so let's make sure I copy it again while it's playing the right pattern. And then let's paste that again. Why isn't it copying it? That's weird. Copy pattern. Copied. Paste pattern. That is strange. Oh, no. No, I got it. I'm losing my mind. Let's reduce the number of notes again. Oh, I like that. It's more stripped down. You can add slides or fewer slides or no slides. I like it with a little slide in the beginning. Let's see how that sounds going back to the original. Could be okay. Let's see how it sounds when I'm playing around with it. Yeah, it doesn't sound as good. Again, I feel like for this type of electro groove, if I get too heavy on the acid tweaking, I don't know, it's a little much for me. I prefer stylistically to keep it tighter. So that's going to mean like faster decay, not too much resonance. Yeah. Let's hear how that sounds with the delay. Like maybe that's bright enough. All right, let's try something. All right. Let's play around with some new seeds. Get a little bit more variation going. All right, so that's a totally new pattern now. I'm not copying and pasting anything, which is great. It just came out good right away. Oh, I know what happened. I forgot to make a new pattern, so I just lost the last one. It's like a new track now. So fast. I love this. That's really good, actually. Should keep it. Let's hear how it sounds with the other synth part. All right, not bad. I'm having fun just banging out different patterns to arrange with later. This is good. All right, let's make another new one. See what else we can get. How fast we can get some good patterns. Whoops. Okay. I'm gonna paste that pattern in again and hit the seed. That seems to fit in the right area. Simple. Yeah. I'm having fun. But I feel like I need to take a breath. How are we doing? Acid overload today. I mean, I should have done this yesterday on 303 day, but, you know, it's the day after 303 day, which is good enough. We're checking out the sound of this plugin. And, you know, as mentioned earlier, in case you joined recently, I already did a stream with this, but the audio was messed up. I felt bad, so I figured let's look at it again. Let's listen to it again with better audio and, you know, just give it a fair shake. And I like this. I like this plugin. It's a little dirty and a little weird, and that sounds good to me. It has a good sound. Just using the tube only without the crazy modulation, the tube sounds good. So the tubes, there's 3. And I like it for this purpose. It's definitely designed for aggressive, distorted kicks and, you know, dirty acid lines and that kind of thing. It's really just made for that. Hardcore techno, hard electro, industrial techno, like stuff where you really wanted to break up and get dirty and a little noisy. It's good for that. And so I figured and yesterday was 303 days, so why not play around with some acid lines and see how the 303 sounds with the carbonizator. And so far, so good. I kind of backed off of it a little bit because it is intense, right? I feel like going total overdrive and dirty and distorted on the 303 is a bit too much for this track, right? That's what I discovered. And I was also trying to do the ring modulation, so the amplitude modulation, to see what it could do. And it's there subtly. It's just sort of in the background creating a texture, but it's not totally overdoing it. And then even just listening to without it, like that's the clean 303, which is good. Right, I might even back off of it a little bit more. Or at least just turn it down. Right. It's more subtle now. And it's doing a lot. I mean, I was thinking, oh, it's not doing much, but it's enhancing in an interesting way, which is another way. You don't have to push these to their limits, right? You can just use a little bit of it to give it a different flavor without totally destroying your sounds. Cool. Let's see. Sean Hodgson is saying, I was not aware of this quick copy-paste new pattern technique with ABL3. Always find nuggets in here. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that was a new thing for you. And it's like I mean, that's why I like this particular 303 emulation, is because of stuff like that. How fast it is to come up with the cool pattern. And then, yeah, the copy-paste and then switching between them with the MIDI notes. And that would be something, if you like the live jam, how easy would that be, where, each one of these 303 patterns is like a different track, and you can just improvise and switch between patterns really, really easily. You could even have getting into Ableton Live World, you could do follow actions and have a whole song sort of, different parts of a track chaining through with follow actions, and it'll just automatically go through them. Luminous Cloud says the Phocion pattern randomizer is no slouch either. Do I have that? I don't think I do. No. I do not have that. I know, I've heard it before. It sounds good. I should give that a try. Definitely. D16 Phocion, another really good 303 emulation. Bye, Doug. Hope your dog is okay. Dog says his dog is yelling at him. And cool. Soul Machine says it's really groovy this evening. I'm glad you like the groove. I'm feeling it too. And I'm definitely going to finish this track. I'm going to work on this a little bit more. And then when we get to the home stretch, I'll come back with it so you can see how it's all coming together. Once I have some more parts laid out for this, we'll get into the arranging. Maybe we'll do like some of the arranging work for this track and the finishing up work for this track on a stream coming up. Also, we were talking about it before. I want to remind everybody, if you joined late, that March 25th is going to be the next Electro feedback session, and we have special guest Carl Finlow joining me, which I'm super psyched about. We're going to check out your submissions and give you some constructive feedback and maybe criticism. And, we'll butter you up and say nice things, and then we'll let you have it. That's what's going to happen. And then if you haven't already, if you want to participate, join the Discord. I know we need to update the Discord link in the description. I will do that, or someone will do that immediately after this broadcast. So check back and check the description of the video for the correct link or the current Discord invite. If you're watching this in the future, don't worry about it. So yeah, March 25th. Submit your tracks the week of, like a few days before. Deadline will be March 24th, and you're going to go to the Selway feedback channel in the 343 Labs Discord that week to submit your work. Carl and I will have a listen to what you've submitted. We'll pick out some tracks, and we still got to figure out how long the show is going to be, for his schedule and my schedule. I like to go longer than an hour, so we really give everybody a proper amount of time and get a good number of tracks in. So that is to be determined. But yeah, enter for a chance to win feedback from Carl Finlow. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys bring in to the channel. All right. You guys are talking about, oh yeah, the Carbonizator. Another reason I like this plugin is it's inexpensive. I forget what the actual price is, but it's good sounding and inexpensive. There's plenty of free cool effects out there too, but sometimes you got to pay for a little bit of character, right? It's worth it. Definitely worth it. And it's also cool to support a small label developer that's doing something cool like this, right? Full disclosure, they did provide this to me for free, so I'm supposed to say that, right? Aren't I supposed to say that like if someone hooks me up, right? But I'm not pulling any punches. I think there's some things I need to work on with this, but as a start, it's pretty cool. I like it. All right, we're almost done. I've got to get out of here right at 2. Let's just listen to the groove a little bit more, and just I'm not going to get to creating any more new parts, right? Because we're almost out of time. But let's at least think about where this track can go next, right? So I had the idea of, instead of adding another layer to create variation for the arrangement, I'm going to create different 303 patterns and switch between them in different sections, right? So that's going to happen. I probably still need to do a little bit more finding cool patterns to use, right? Right. That's the original one, which we're used to now. Those two actually are good together because they're sparse and they're similar enough that you can switch between them and it doesn't sound too sudden. I'm gonna get rid of the big dirty kick. Right, so here's another idea for creating variation without adding more parts, because I do want to keep it stripped down and beat oriented, right? I don't want to have all big lush pads and stuff. I want to have a few elements that work really well. But you know, we already did we turned the mono sequencer into a MIDI clip, and now I can play with it. I have it, you know, playing every other bar instead of all the time. But what if I did some kind of sequence where, let's duplicate that. What happens if I take the next time it comes in and transpose it up a little bit? And then let's do like a melody with that. All right, let's see if that works. Something like that. That could do it. All right. That's it for today. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me and making some, continuing to work on this track. Taking a look again at the carbonizator, the distortion effect, and getting into some kind of acidy electro in honor of yesterday being 303. Everybody was posting their acid and 303 videos yesterday and everything, so I had to join in a day late. Thanks again to all of you in the chat. Thanks to Anthony for stopping by. Good to see you as always. And again, you know, get your tracks ready for feedback in March 25th, Carl Finlow. I will see you all. Actually, next week I am off, right? So no stream on the 11th. So we'll be back the week after that. And that's it. Enjoy your week. Adios.